Darlene Gillard Jones. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also a lover of fashion, tech infiltrator, and a hustler. So, the informal North American definition of a hustler is someone who is an aggressively enterprising person, a go getter, someone who makes things happen, and that's me. This is Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker was an African American entrepreneur, philanthropist, and the first black millionaire. Imagine being a black woman entrepreneur in the late 19th century. That could not have been easy, right? I think we can all agree with that. And Madam Walker had to have a lot of amazing qualities to be a successful business owner, one of which is hustle. I have always admired Madam Walker, but never had the vision to be an entrepreneur myself. I had never seen it, it was never modeled for me, and so I just didn't have it. So after graduating from college, I landed my dream job in the fashion industry, fashion and media industry, and was there for 10 years. I worked at top magazines, I worked with celebrities like Lenny Kravitz, Oprah, Beyonce, and yes, let me digress for 1 second. Beyonce is more beautiful in person, inside and out, and Oprah is everything you think amazing. And so I wrote stories, I traveled the world, I did all this amazing glamorous stuff, and it was awesome. And then one day I went into the office and the editor-in-chief called a meeting and she said, I'm leaving today. I'm leaving. I'm leaving my high-profile, high-paying job because I had started a business that was growing, and with the demands of this job, I had no time for my daughter. And her daughter was starting school the next day and didn't have any school supplies. And I think parents can relate to that too, right? And so she left and that was it. She was out the door and I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. That's so inspiring. Like, I wanted to follow her out the door because it was everything that I wanted. I mean, she was smart, she was brave, she had hustle, and she was creating her own life. And I wanted the same thing. I was a young mother, a young parent, a young wife. I had a sick parent and I was working long nights and traveling, and I just didn't want that anymore. So a few months later, I started a business. And having worked in the media space for a long time, I worked with celebrities whose publicists and agents I saw weren't really, representing the client in the best light most times. And so I always thought I could do that. And I had been to a ton of events, beautiful spaces and places around the world, and thought, you know what, I could put together a party. If I could do anything, I could do that. And so I figured it out. I was like, you know what, I can make something happen out of this. My family was supported, and so I started my first business, the Gillard Jones Agency, which is a PR, event planning, and consulting firm. So I continued to work with celebrities, high-profile clients, and businesses like Booz Allen. I got contracts with eBay. It was amazing, but it was really freaking hard, so hard. It was so hard because, my life was amazing, it was glamorous and easy, but that wasn't. And one of the things that I was lacking was asking for help. You sort of alluded to that. Women of color and communities of color and women overall don't generally ask for help with anything, resources, funding, anything. My mother was an accountant and I didn't even ask her for help. And that doesn't really serve you well in business, and it's something that I had to learn. And so in continuing the business, I had a client who was interested in starting, hosting an event for Black and Latinx women who were in the technology space. And so I agreed because of my experience and produced our event back in the fall of 2012. The next year she came to me and said that she wanted to start a business where Black and Latinx women were supported, and to call this business Digital Undivided, and would I be a partner? And it was really one of the first times that someone had asked me for help, and I was like, yes, I'm all over it. So I did it. And my job was to run our events and to create opportunities for the organization, which I did. But as I got deeper into the business, I really lacked the confidence in my ability to lead in the innovation space. I was new to the space and didn't know anything. I felt like I didn't know anything. Men oftentimes, whether they know something or not, they're super confident. And there were no women leaders in the space that I saw. And so I often challenge and question myself, did I make the right decision? What am I doing? Why am I here? But over time, I learned from reading, from mentoring from my partner, coaching and all these other things, how to be in this space. And now I'm considered a thought leader in the innovation space 7 years later. So Digital Undivided helps Black and Latinx women who are interested in entrepreneurship and using innovation to build and scale companies. We're most known for our proprietary research, Project Diane, which fundamentally changed the conversation around the lack of funding for women and women of color in the innovation space. We are also known for our highly acclaimed incubator program, which you spoke about earlier. And so, throughout this journey, it's been amazing. And the most important thing for me was to be able to spend time with my family, which I was able to do. But also, even more importantly, it is the impact that this particular industry has had on my family personally. My son is a computer science major who wants to be an entrepreneur as soon as he graduates. My daughter, who had never thought anything about tech, was recruited from Oracle right out of college, has worked for Tesla and has worked for Yext, which are both really amazing startups, and she's thrilled because of the schedule. She's awesome. And then my husband is an investor in technology, both on the stock market and an angel to diverse founders. And so, as an entrepreneur, I'm always thinking about what's next. What am I gonna do next? I don't know. Time will tell. But what I can say is that with the learnings that I've had and with the hustler's mentality, I think it'll be great. Thank you.